Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Colin Stewart. I'm a parishioner here at St. George's Episcopal Church in Laguna Hills, California. To introduce tonight's speaker, Davis Mac-Iyalla, I'll be wearing another of my hats, which is as president of the St. Paul's Foundation for International Reconciliation. It is a nonprofit charity that supports LGBTQ rights advocacy journalism, including news sites that often have published articles about Davis's work. One of those sites is Erasing 76 Crimes, where I'm the editor. We work with many LGBTQ rights activists as part of our focus on what's going on in nations with anti-homosexuality laws. In addition to publishing the news of the struggle to repeal those laws, we have helped organizers of LGBTQ rights protests, and we publicize articles about the human toll exacted by homophobia. As editor of the Erasing 76 Crimes site, I have known Davis Mac-Iyalla for years. 7 years ago, Erasing 76 Crimes wrote about his previous visit to California. And similarly, last October, our affiliated Rights Africa site wrote about Davis's opposition to a current anti-LGBTQ proposal in Ghana, which Davis will surely discuss tonight. These publications give me some perspective on the global extent of laws that deny the God-given worth of LGBTQ people. The Erasing 76 Crimes site focuses in particular on 71 nations with such anti-homosexuality laws, the vast majority of which are either Muslim-majority countries, 35 countries, or former British colonies, 31 countries. Those are countries where the British Empire introduced anti-homosexuality laws that have remained in effect decades after the empire departed. Centuries of misguided religious tradition play a crucial role in how people relate to those laws. The misguided laws in those 31 former British colonies can be traced all the way back to the 16th century, when King Henry VIII decided to seize the valuable property of Catholic monasteries. By imposing an anti-homosexuality law in 1553, he could accuse monks of homosexuality and take away their lands. Before that time, homosexuality could be considered a sin, but not a crime. If you want to trace the mistake back further, you can visit the 2nd century with the accompaniment of theologian and Anglican Archbishop John Holder of Barbados. He tells how the Old Testament story of Sodom, which is really about the importance of being hospitable to strangers, was transformed by hard-line anti-Greek interpreters into a warning about homosexuality. Presto changeo, the sin of homosexual sodomy was born. I'm far from an expert in Islamic theology, but some progressive Muslims who are experts describe similar misinterpretations that led to traditional Muslim antagonism to homosexuality. The story of Sodom also appears in the Quran and has been interpreted and misinterpreted just like the Old Testament version. In addition, outside the Quran, much traditional Muslim condemnation of homosexuals is based on second-hand accounts called hadiths that contain quotations attributed to Muhammad. The vast majority of hadiths have nothing to do with homosexuality, and many of them have strong credibility, for example, ones coming from multiple sources. But some Islamic scholars have concluded that none of Islam's common anti-homosexuality traditions is based on a strong hadith. Now, to come back to the present, both within Islam and within Christianity, progressive religious groups are working to spread the understanding that people, no matter what their sexual orientation or gender identity, are worthy and beloved. In the Anglican Communion, churches that descended from the Church of England, the belief in the God-given worth of LGBTQ people achieved prominence in the Episcopal Church in the United States, especially with the election of Gene Robinson, a gay priest, as Bishop of New Hampshire in 2003, and the consecration of Mary Glasspool, a lesbian priest, as a bishop in Los Angeles in 2010. Conservative, homophobic Anglican churches, such as the Church of Nigeria and the Church of Uganda, and conservative parishes in the United States protested and began boycotting gatherings of the Anglican Communion. More than a decade later, the Archbishop of Canterbury, still trying to hold the communion together, is trying to pacify homophobic Anglicans by excluding the spouses of bishops in same-sex marriages from this summer's Lambeth Conference. However, in the Caribbean, some Anglican clergy, such as Archbishop Holder and Archbishop Thompson, shown here, are speaking out against homophobia. Progressive faith leaders are also active in Islam. For example, Imam Ludovic Mohamed Zahed in Marseille, France, runs an LGBTQ-friendly mosque and training center. Closer to home, Muslims for Progressive Values, based in Los Angeles, runs a worldwide network of inclusive Muslims, offering speakers, advocacy, counseling, and Islamic same-sex marriage services. The Global Interfaith Network, based in South Africa, is a global network of LGBTIQ++ people of faith who use their faith traditions as a source of insight and energy to advocate for the human rights of LGBTIQ++ people globally. Similarly, in East Africa, an interfaith program is underway called Say No to Religious Homophobia. The organization Inclusive and Affirming Ministries works throughout Africa toward a goal of faith communities that are welcoming and affirming, where LGBTQ people can participate fully and be strengthened in their spiritual, psychological, and sexual identity as human beings. And in West Africa, the Interfaith Diversity Network of West Africa is hard at work. Its founder is Davis Mac-Iyalla, who is with us tonight. A native of Nigeria, he is a cradle Anglican who currently lives in Ghana, and he remains active in the church there and in London. The Interfaith Diversity Network has more than 350 members, including Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Jews, and African traditional worshipers. It is active in 11 West African nations. It offers inclusive worship services, speakers, training sessions, and interventions in situations where the rights of LGBTIQ people have been abused. It also operates a haven for LGBTIQ people who are at risk. Without further ado, I'll turn the program over to Davis. Please give him a warm welcome.